So Spider-Man No Way Home was just released worldwide, and most of you watching this video either watched it or are planning to watch it, but you are unsure or may be looking for some sort of explanation from a Christian perspective. Well, you have arrived on the right video. But just a disclaimer, this video is not a review, but it's a preview, as I have not watched the movie yet. But this video is just a discussion based off of current knowledge on the source material the movie is inspired off of and speculation. So let's get into it by first asking a question you probably asked yourself before arriving at this video. Should a Christian go watch No Way Home? And our answer to that at Xplanations is that's up to you, and we will heavily advise that you ask God for discernment on whether or not to go watch it. We do our best not to do direct recommendations to any movies we cover, as it leads to persons wanting do and don't list or what to watch and what not to watch. And everyone's scenario and revelation pertaining to movies is different. Some people may have been given the clear not to go watch any movies instructions along their walk with God, and others may have not gotten those instructions from God. So we present you with the information so you make your own choices based off of it. So the plot of No Way Home, according to many speculation, is said to be a mashup of multiple comic sources as well as being its own unique story as well. Now please keep in mind that this is not a review, but rather this is a video discussion based off of current speculation, articles, and the release trailers up until the 16th of December. I am stressing this so that those of you that came to this video thinking that it was a review after you watched the movie would keep that in mind when commenting I am missing context or something along those lines. If you watch the movie, then I highly appreciate if you leave a comment stating things that you saw in the movie. Spoiler warning is advised for the comment section. I do intend on doing an explanation type video of the Spider-Man trilogy when I eventually watch the movie, as the second movie does cover some interesting themes. But until then, this is a discussion based off of what certain things that were already said about this movie. Because this particular movie, compared to all other Marvel movies, has been the most tight-knit when it comes to spoilers and vagueness of trailers. And I'm saying it right now, this movie is most likely going to be one of Marvel's top movies, and it probably would end up breaking the box office, as this is a really ambitious movie. The movie already has a 95% score on Rotten Tomatoes from pre-release critic reviews, and many early watchers are saying it's amazing. I mean, the trailer holds the record for being the most viewed trailer in a 24-hour span ever. And it is most likely going to be one of the most visually stunning movies of the year as well. But despite all of this, one of the comics that the movie is pulling from is considered to be one of the most controversial in the Spider-Man comic book line, which I'll be reading from this article by Nerdist back in August, which talks about it in detail and says, "This is the comic most fans thought of when they watched the new trailer, the widely panned 2007 story arc after the events of Civil War. During that comic, much like the end of Far From Home, Peter has been outed as Spider-Man, but in a darker turn, Aunt May has been shot and is in a coma due to the actions of Kingpin. So, in one more day, Peter does what any sensible adult does and along with Mary Jane makes a deal with the devil to save Aunt May. It's understandable that since fans saw Peter asking a magic man for help, they thought of this comic. In actuality, Strange turns down Peter's request in the comic, setting him on a path to find Mephisto and rewriting his life forever." Now that was an extract from the article. Now I'll be reading a synopsis of the One More Day comic according to the Spider-Man wiki. Aunt May is shown slowly dying from a gunshot wound sustained during the events of Civil War. Peter was forced to ask Tony Stark for financial assistance and then seeks help from Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange informs Peter that he cannot do anything to give Aunt May back her life. However, Peter seeks the aid of several others including Doctor Doom, the High Evolutionary, Reed Richards, and even Dr. Octopus. Peter even attempts to go back in time using a magic spell without Doctor Strange's approval, hurting himself in the process. Doctor Strange heals his wounds and sends him on his way, encouraging him to just be by Aunt May's side at her death. On his way to the hospital, Peter is confronted by a little girl who says she holds the answer to his problems. He talks to the little girl, who runs off. While running after her, Peter encounters a group of men and women in red, who inform him that these are alternate versions of himself from alternate realities where they never became Spider-Man. The woman in red transforms into the demon Mephisto, who tells Peter he can save Aunt May. As payment, Mephisto wants not Peter's soul, but his history of his marriage with Mary Jane. That same day, Peter and Mary Jane are given until midnight the following night to decide their answer, and after several hours agonizing over the choice, they agree to the deal, as long as knowledge of Peter's secret identity is erased from the entire world. Mary Jane also whispers to Mephisto another unspecified offer in return for Mephisto putting Peter's life back together exactly how it was and giving him a chance at happiness. Finally, Mephisto reveals to the couple that his disguise as a little girl was in fact their future daughter, May Parker, but she will never exist because of their choice. Mephisto then changes history so that Peter and Mary Jane were never married, and no one remembers whose face is underneath Spider-Man's mask. Peter wakes up alone in bed, once again living with Aunt May. So that's a synopsis of the comic book origin for one of the themes from the movie. And yes, that is loaded. There's a whole thing all by itself. But as we see, instead of Spider-Man making a deal with Mephisto, who is pretty much summed up to be the devil in the Marvel comic book universe, it is going to instead be the use of Doctor Strange. Now, Doctor Strange is a whole case on his own, and in our opinion is just as bad, but to most it will slip past their radar. So that is the major flag to look out for. For me, the main thing I'm looking out for when it comes to No Way Home is what is it setting up for the slate of Marvel movies and TV shows to come afterwards. Because No Way Home is setting up for something big. As we see in the final trailer, Strange says something is coming through that he can't hold back. And one of the main things with the Marvel universe is that it's all connected. No Way Home may not have themes that are direct scriptural flippants as Eternals or Age of Ultron or Endgame did, but they are all connected. And any show released after the Loki TV series, which we do have a video in production covering He Remains and a Sacred Timeline to be uploaded soon, I will highly recommend that you don't consume as mindless entertainment or just fiction or it's just a show or a movie. But stay alert, because this movie is definitely going to be amazing visually, and if you're a comic book nerd, the fan service is going to be like no other, especially if you grew up with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and rock the lunch kits and the Spider-Man pencil cases and such. It's going to give you a huge nostalgia rush. But despite all of this, remember to stay alert if you decide to go watch the movie, and let us know in the comments with a spoiler warning, of course, on the various things that you were able to spot from the movie. So that's it for this movie preview. We do plan to do more of these for future movies, not on just Marvel. I want to say a huge thank you to all the new subscribers that found the channel from the Eternals breakdown video. Got a lot more in store. So stay tuned and remember, don't blindly consume.